intense minute.
I think there are more cuts in this minute than any one we've seen so far.
Oh, gotta be.
It's action-packed. There's a lot of people looking at each other and responding to their actions, which I guess is what most movies are, but but the pace, they're at a quick clip in this minute.
I'm having trouble thinking of anything to do with 41, other than the obvious Sum 41, but that's too easy.
No, we can do it.
Because when I type my notes, I always type ham and the number.
Mm-hmm.
And ham 41, I've already, hours ago, gone through the, Sum 41 gag. So that doesn't exist for me
it's
anymore.
It's old to you already, and we haven't even brought it up.
Right. And as you know, I appreciate the improv more than actually how funny something actually is, which is my toxic trait, one of many.
If that's all you got, you're doing okay. You're doing better than Sum 41.
We made it.
It's good to be on the...
We have arrived.
It's good to be on the other side of 40 for some reason.
Yeah, do you feel like it's just a wide open space here? Do you feel like Kevin in this minute that you've broken out of a small space and you're now in green field space, just pasture ready to run?
I'm 42 years old. Does that mean that next week is my golden episode?
Oh.
We've already passed yours. Did you feel special about 4 episodes ago or so? Not to put you on the grid age-wise. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember what minute 18 was like.
We have a complex relationship. Me being 42 and you being 18.
I keep telling people I'm 18 because I want to get into all the adult events.
Really? You're getting your driver's license next week. I'm very excited for you.
And this minute just makes me nervous because I see this cop nearly writing someone a ticket and then explaining, oh, hey, you can't write me a ticket. There's a little boy over there.
Yeah, I guess we should sum up what's happening in this minute before we get into it.
We should sum 41 up.
Boo. Hack. It's been done. Done 41.
Oh, that's good.
All right. Jerod, you want to tell us what happens in minute 41?
Oh, having me do the recap when it's cut.
I don't think you have to identify every cut.
So in this 41st minute of the John Hughes classic Home Alone, we start with Kevin exiting Hubbard Woods Pharmacy with a fast follow from Jimmy, who looks around, sees a police officer, points and yells shoplifter toward Kevin, who recognizes what he's done accidentally, runs off, evades and eludes the officer by sliding around on some ice, and eventually gets out of reach of the toppled officer as we close the minute with him crossing a bridge over a train, assumedly heading home.
Jerod, great job.
Nerve-wracking.
I knew you had it in you. Well, you are right that this is where...
that's what I was waiting for.
Yes, this is all that happened.
Because if you had come back ooh, sorry, what we were looking for was, and then you do a 3-minute recap.
You know what is strange? Not to get into complain about the kids mode a little too much, but today I was grading some work and I had read a presidential speech with my students and asked them to summarize it. And it is a little strange how that is an acquired skill that people at some point in their lives don't know how to do, to break down the main ideas of a story or text, kind of missing some salient ideas that FDR is trying to elucidate.
Do you find that they're indexing more on certain parts? Is it front-loaded for some kids, or is it that they cling on to things that are less important? Because I'm trying to figure out how you do it poorly.
Well, I do see some of them hitting on minor details that could be omitted in a summary. More often than not, what it looks like is an underbaked summary. If you're reading, a 6-page excerpt from a State of the Union address, and I say, hey, summarize that for me, I'm looking for a few sentences about the big ideas that move throughout that speech. And the kids just say, Hitler's bad and FDR wants to stand up to him. I'm like, yeah, I mean, if I asked you to give me one sentence about this, that's pretty good. But he's doing 5 or 6 big ideas in here. And to kind of miss those, overlook them.
So you don't want a summary of the facts. You want a summary of the sentiment.
Kevin slides through the legs of a hockey player. It's just a detail that you, I would argue, rightly omitted from your summary of the minute, even though we'll get into it as we zoom in. But enough about me complaining about the children. This episode of the Home Alone Minute is sponsored by TikTok. TikTok, because your brain's not smooth yet.
Did you see all those people outside without phones?
Remember when we just walk around without our phones?
With hockey sticks?
With large leather bags full of gift wrap?
You know, forget chronological. Let's talk about hockey for a second.
Please, I just played a game.
How did you fare?
8-3, baby. The good guys won.
Oh, sorry.
No, the good guys won. Me.
Oh, I have a condition where I can't understand how people are emoting when they're talking about hockey.
Ice blindness.
Isn't there a rapper that's ice something? Ice?
Tea? Cube?
No,
Vanilla?
The new cohort of Ice Spice.
Oh, yeah, Ice Spice.
Like you say, in summary, Kevin's going over ice. And to be fair, we are summarizing a minute of a film, a feature-length film, and pretty likely that not one bit of this minute ends up in the summary of the film.
Oh, very true. Very true. Oh, we're zooming out when I thought we would zoom in, but I like this. What function does this sequence serve? We've amplified his fear of Old Man Marley, right? That character has reemerged after a couple moments without seeing him, and he's terrified Kevin once again. So just rhythmically, we got him back into the movie, right?
Agreed.
How is this moment different from the last time we saw him when Kevin was saying, I'm not afraid anymore, and he runs into Old Man Marley out on the sidewalk?
Because it changes set and setting. So this is a daytime encounter in public with other people around.
Mm-hmm.
So before, when you have him isolated, walking around with a shovel, it's nighttime, it's a whole lot easier to be frightened. This elevates his ability to frighten, I think, because even in the light of day, in public with other people around, he's still a scary figure.
So it's different in that way. I think if one thematic concept of the movie is Kevin's growing independence, his man of the house-ness getting developed, which we saw at the beginning, he doesn't embody that yet when he can't pack his own suitcase, when he's the brat of the whole family. We keep seeing him grow closer to becoming that independent. I'm the man of the house. I'm a grown-up. I can take care of myself here. And that experimentation with that growth getting challenged and knocking him back. So here we have Kevin, we've talked about it before, trying to do a grown-up thing, buy a toothbrush and get one that's approved by the American Dental Association. And it doesn't take much for him to get knocked back down into, I'm just a scared little kid. It just takes Old Man Marley and his crazy, scary, bloody hand to chase him away again.
It's reminding you that it's not an emotional version of big. Kevin didn't become the man of the house overnight. We're seeing him on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a good reminder that it is a journey. It's not a quick change.
We do get, through this escape, we also get evidence of how crafty Kevin can be, right? He successfully evades the police. Kevin wins this battle, And we're going to later see him get the best of some other adults. So in some ways, it is just that wish fulfillment kind of idea. Little kids will be excited to see Kevin win here, but he's also done wrong. He's stolen a toothbrush.
I see that as the external manifestation of this growth of his and being knocked back down, because it's not just him trying to step up and be the man of the house and getting knocked back down. It's also him stepping up into the adult world and being dismissed, isolated, or even, in this case, forced into being on the lam.
Yeah, it does prevent him from returning to town for anything. He's effectively banished from the rest of society. Now he is a lone wolf all on his own because he's a wanted man.
Right. In his mind, every police officer in town is looking for him.
He's got
right
the
now.
5-star GTA level.
They all know who he is. They all know what he looks like.
The chopper's coming by anytime soon. The military sending a tank down Lincoln Boulevard.
Yeah, so he's been excommunicated.
Which gets us back to Old Man Marley being the savior figure here. Marley shows up to save Kevin, to be his friend. And what does Kevin do? Immediately after being offered salvation, he sins.
He's not ready yet.
This movie's more biblical than I thought it was.
Is it possible that people are more biblical than you think?
Yeah. I do like getting the name of the drugstore.
A detail I did not omit from the summary.
And you know what?
I assume you are deeply ashamed of me.
No, I appreciate it. It was worked in efficiently. Hubbard Woods Pharmacy.
.com. Please be taken. I can't
You're looking now,
afford
aren't you?
anymore.
Are you looking now? I'll look now.
I'm not.
Okay, hold on. I'm on it.
There's no way.
Oh, no. The first Google hit is fun facts about Home Alone filming locations, a website I've visited quite a few times. HubbardWoods.com takes us to like one of those parked domain kind of sites, you know?
I'd have to look at when it was last registered / renewed, because I'd give you 90 days. Like, put something up, forward it to another page, throw a landing page up, something.
Yeah.
Be a decent human being.
HubbardWoods.com like went to one of those, you know, we've got this part kind of things. HubbardWoodsPharmacy.com looks like it's just nothing.
I assumed as much.
I do like seeing the exterior. It's decorated for Christmas just as well. They spent some time on it.
Yeah, like the window is wrapped like a present.
Yeah, there's a pretty elaborate window display. Like on the left side, there's snowmen and presents and stuff. Like they put some work into it for a very quick shot.
Well, the whole city has. There's garland all along the bridge that goes over the train.
Yeah. When Kevin first comes out, we have a lot of extras also in the classic Home Alone red and green outfits, red scarves, green handbags.
You mentioned this earlier. There are a lot of extras in this scene.
Yeah, it's busy.
I don't know why I say this, but these don't strike me as the friend of a producer extras.
No. These were organized folks.
Unit by unit, it also feels like this would be a lot to coordinate.
Yeah.
So before we even get into why, I'll go ahead and start the Unsung Hero campaign for background direction.
Oh, yeah. Your assistant directors. This might be a second unit situation, maybe. There's a lot of shots to keep track of.
The first hockey player who has a stance just wide enough for an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah, wildly unrealistic.
Do you think that guy tried to get a line so he could get his SAG card?
You know, I was wondering about the police officer.
Oh, he has a few.
What does he say?
Things along the lines of, hey, kid, come back here.
Yeah.
Some of it's a little ADR seeming, so I don't know how much they actually captured, but...
Yeah, it seems sort of like a borderline role where a stingy producer might only give him enough lines to have to pay him extra rate. But he's like falling on ice and stuff too. That seems like a minimum stunt work kind of situation.
I would say so, yeah.
But this was 1990 also, so.
That brings us to the second hockey player, who, I don't know why I've always thought this way, but I've always thought of those two hockey players as completely disconnected. Like, it didn't really occur to me that those two could be playing
together.
Right.
It's very possible. It's just as possible on a sheet of ice like this that you've got a couple people out there with their own sticks, just doing some practice with their stick work.
Do you call it dribbling?
No.
Or puck?
No. Puck handling, I think we would call it. Or stick handling. They're practicing their deeks.
All these industry terms.
Sorry, didn't mean to fill up the podcast with hockey jargon. Skates, sticks, puck.
Zamboni.
Yeah, no Zamboni. This ice isn't getting resurfaced.
What is this ice the rest of the year? Is this a park?
Park? It seems like the town square kind of thing. I don't think that this is a naturally frozen over pond, but that might be the implication. It seems like a man-made sheet, but I don't know.
I do want to get back to the conversation that the cop is having with the car that he seemingly is getting a ticket to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pointing and waving and unheard dialogue.
Yeah. Eye contact being made between Jimmy and the cop.
It is a lot. It does not feel natural on multiple viewings, but it seems fine just going through it.
The sequence flows pretty well for me. And it's in the script this way of Jimmy having this moment of, oh, Kevin's getting away. I don't know what to do. But, oh, I see a police officer. Police officer notices Jimmy. Jimmy sort of motions to Kevin. Cop looks at Kevin. Kevin notices the cop. Shoplifter. And then they're off. There's a lot not being said.
I think I was specifically zeroing in on the driver.
Oh, okay. Who is just sitting there getting a ticket, but she looks at Kevin too.
She's doing a bit much.
Oh, yeah. I think I would be intrigued if I were in her shoes.
But she's looking around before someone says shoplifter.
Yeah, but also that's potentially her way out of this ticket.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I just think sequencing matters here.
Yeah. She's looking back too soon.
Because I can't imagine that the commotion he stirs up with the folks out front is enough for her to be like, well, what's that?
What I do acknowledge is that if there's something potentially needing an officer's attention, a pulled over driver getting a citation would maybe even lean into that a little more than they need to in order to potentially get out of the ticket. You hear like a hey, and a savvy driver would be like, oh, there's something going on. Do you need to go check that out?
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, it's not how she's responding. It's the idea that something would raise to the level that would catch her attention enough.
The timing.
That she would respond to something, yeah.
Jimmy's role as the hero of this moment is so short-lived. Jimmy, stop that boy. Jimmy does not stop that boy. And Jimmy pawns the job off on law enforcement as quickly as he can.
He's got middle management written all over him.
He's going back into that pharmacy, and Herb's going, did you get him? I got the cop. The cop right after him, and he got away. Well, you're a strapping young lad. Did you chase him too? Oh, no. I said the word shoplifter. My work here is done.
I do see him just like dusting his hands right after saying shoplifter and be like, well.
All in a day's work.
While the aforementioned FDR was a president, there's a bit in this minute that reminds me of a presidential hopeful that wasn't quite as successful.
Dukakis?
I said wasn't quite as successful. Dukakis, while not winning, was incredibly successful. Let's set the record straight.
Okay.
No, when right after the cop trips up on the hockey player, Kevin does this, hey, yeah, some sort of yelp of joy.
An exclamation of success. A bested enemy.
which to me takes me right back to the Iowa caucus, Howard Dean.
Oh, simpler times.
Remember when that's what got you canceled?
Yes.
You exclaiming in a strange way?
You got a little too excited.
We're going to go back to New Hampshire. We're going to go back to South Carolina.
Ew. This guy's too excited about this. Not my party.
Which is exactly right, because that year it was John Kerry who wasn't excited about anything.
We need someone so much more bland. Fast forward 20 years. Holy cow.
That is an interesting thought experiment, too, because I do wonder if Howard Dean could have beat Bush, because Kerry certainly couldn't have, as we saw. And hindsight's 2020, so it's not like that's a great prediction on my part. But could Howard Dean have beat Bush? Maybe. And then we'd be living in a very different timeline.
Yeah. But would we, though? I'm no political history expert. I don't remember what sweeping changes George W. got through in his second term. Maybe a prolonged Iraq war, maybe?
Yeah, it's what you don't do, right? It's not repealing the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
But hey, this isn't the Howard Alone Minute. In the top spot for lines that weren't said, but I heard them anyway, is the cop's line of, "Aw, shucks." He gets tripped up. He looks up at an escaping Kevin, and I just hear it. I just hear him go, "Aw, shucks."
He has a very brief but funny moment with that hockey player. They sort of crash down onto the ice together, and the hockey player has this reaction that's sort of a mix of, "Oh, hey, excuse me," and, "Oh, what are you doing?" and "Am I in trouble?"
There are a few of these that we've come upon, and there will probably be a few more, but a la Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, I think there's a potential spinoff from this meet cute.
Hockey player joins the force, and we've got a rookie cop and grizzled veteran on the streets of Winnetka where no crime happens.
Years later, he's retelling the tale of this shoplifting, but has forgotten that his partner was actually there.
I'm ashamed to not know this, and maybe it's even worth pausing here for a moment and looking up, but do they reuse this officer when they're busting the wet bandits later? Or is it a completely different set?
I vote that we not find out until then.
Okay. Well, dear listeners, set a remind me. Send me the very Google Calendar invite for about 40 weeks from now. Maybe next year.
Next calendar year for sure. Yeah, we've got like 8 episodes until we're in next year, right?
Something like that.
I don't know how many vacation weeks you're taking.
Yeah. Hey, can I bring up what I believe is a continuity mistake that I wonder if you noticed too? Or maybe I'm wrong. You can discredit my observation if necessary.
Hit it.
Kevin runs out. Jimmy runs out, sort of stops by the door, calls for the cop. And then when Kevin enters the ice rink park area, we've got a reverse shot of him kind of running down out of the camera, and we see like the drugstore in the background with the cop kind of pursuing him from there. Jimmy's not there anymore.
I thought we already established he said shoplifter already.
And then he bolted back inside.
Job done.
He's disappeared. This was his unfinished business. He was a ghost.
When he...
Jimmy, stop that boy. Fulfill your destiny and move to the great beyond. Finally, your moment to reduce shrinkage at Hubbard Woods Pharmacy.
To the tune of 75 cents worth of toothbrush.
Jimmy has been dead for 40 years.
He's been stacking these Pampers Plus.
Because someone tried to rob the store and he was killed trying to stop the criminal.
Wait, no, he's Kevin's angel.
Okay. stop that boy, bring him back to our savior, Old Man Marley. This movie's far more biblical than I ever knew.
Train cut.
Oh, I wanted to talk about the figure skater that would have definitely cut off Kevin's ear.
Oh, God. This is something that I skipped over as a kid. As a kid, I did not know how dangerous ice skates were.
And that figure skate is dancing right around Kevin's head. It's a close call, which is fun and exciting, but also very scary.
Was there a stunt actor used for this day, but everything that they did fell on the cutting room floor?
This is such a action-packed minute that I got to think it was carefully storyboarded and all the shots were set up. We've got a lot of point of view of Kevin, point of view of the cop, reverse on Kevin as he's sliding on the ice. I don't know if they had the time to set up stuff that they weren't using. It's a lot of shots.
That's fair.
And going wider would involve more choreography and wrangling of extras that I don't know they bothered with it. You had to map this out pretty carefully.
Valid.
Train shot.
I think because of the pace of this minute, that very hard cut feels a bit softened.
Oh, yeah. We get to breathe there. Just as Kevin gets to breathe having escaped the police, we get the longer cut to demonstrate that.
Not just the shot itself, but like the cut to it doesn't feel jarring.
But it's wider, it's longer. We've got the train going past, symbolizing escape.
We didn't talk about the longest line in this minute.
What is the longest line?
Whoa.
Can I be honest and say that I don't love it?
That's one of the core tenets of this podcast is your ability to be vulnerable.
I feel safe saying it.
It feels like something that happens in a trailer for a movie that plays before Home Alone as opposed to in Home Alone.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a second tier family comedy element to it. It just seems so unnatural to me that he would have this long, whoa, this is like Three Ninjas vibe rather than Home Alone.
Yes. It's borderline slapstick, which I think this borders on constantly with, this cop here and Harry and Marv. There's a lot of that stuff. And they walk that like a ice skate's edge.
It is a movie for children. And there are some elements we just have to accept as being for the kids, if you will.